Hello and welcome to the Visibility Show. I'm your host, Melissa Groom, and today I have a very special guest, Foxxy, the Empowerment Sage, joining us. Hello, Foxxy.
Hi, Melissa. Great to be here.
So great to have you. Today we're talking about how Foxxy can be more visible online to attract her ideal clients, and we'll be sharing with you a little bit about her business as well and what she does to help you to find your inner power. So Foxxy, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you help and how you do it.
Sure, thanks for that. So how I help women, so whether they're in relationship, in business, or any walk of life, simply to believe in themselves a whole lot more, to really show up more of themselves. So let go of the story of what they think other people think of them, and just simply be themselves and be true to themselves.
I love the video that you put up that saying, don't care about what other people think about yourself. And, I have to say with all the women I know in business, which is a lot of people, Foxxy, you would have to be the most fun. And, if we're not having fun in our business, then what are we doing, number one? But also, so many of us take ourselves so seriously. And what I love about you is, you just come out there and you're at that point where you don't care what other people think. You'll go down a slippery slide. You'll dance around like no one's looking, and you, I guess, give us permission to go, well, yes, we don't always have to be, I don't know, prim and proper, or doesn't really matter. Like I'm nearly 50. I'm 49 in February. I'm past the worry about what people think about me. And often sometimes it can be our family or our children that are our critics too, and that can hurt. And that can be like, oh, they're saying that we're embarrassing them online, or
Absolutely. And the trick is not to take that on board. I mean, I wear stuff and my daughters go, Mum, you're embarrassing me. So what? I don't care. And I guess that,
they never embarrass us.
Sometimes I do put myself out there sometimes, and I go, oh my goodness, did I do that? So it does come up, but it doesn't stop me. Because I know it does. It gives other people permission. And I think working as an exotic dancer for 17 years has helped me just step into my body and be okay with who I am and what I look like, because I know it's not the outside container. I actually know what it is within myself that I'm bringing forth. And the outside container is kind of irrelevant, really. So
that's your little secret, hey? Your exotic dancing background. You're going to bring that into... You've got a retreat coming up. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you've developed the 9 archetypes for women to find out who they really are, really, so that they can utilize those inner powers. Tell us about the archetypes.
Yeah, so I actually created the archetypes while I was working as a dancer, because I had many women come into the club and they go, oh, I wish I had the confidence to do what you do. So it wasn't so much they wanted to be a dancer, but just simply to show up as they are, being totally comfortable in how they want to express themselves. So the archetypes came from that. I mean, just really deep diving, researching, thinking, what's actually going on here? What's the dynamics that actually go on here? What are people looking for? What is that fantasy that people want to play out? What is it that they want to step into? So that's how the nine archetypes kind of came around. I wish there wasn't 9. I wish there was less, but I kind of feel like that what resonated with me. I wanted something that would actually be sort of modernized. I look back at many different other type of archetypes, but it didn't resonate. I just wanted something that was practical, down to earth, and fun. So each of them actually helps women step into different parts of themselves that they have probably shut down and deemed to be bad and wrong and guilty and shameful. And different people will resonate with different ones.
So can you tell us a little bit about some of them and what they are?
Okay, so there's a big one. Like for me, I guess stepping into my warrior has been my biggest challenge, is just simply taking action and getting out there and believing in myself. So, and many women I find are also what they are not in their nurturer. Now, when you go through and go, yes, I'm so nurturing of everybody else except themselves. So there is actually like an opposite of the archetypes. It's like the shadow side, and the opposite side of the nurturer is the doormat. So it's where you take on everybody else's stuff, you let them walk all over you, you feel burnt out and like, oh my goodness, you know, you're giving so much of yourself. And a lot of women are actually in that space. So they need to learn to step into that nurturing side of themselves without feeling guilty. So, yeah.
True.
So
Not feeling guilty that we're going to the hairdresser.
Pardon?
Not feeling guilty that we're going to the hairdresser.
Oh, that's absolutely, yeah. So whatever.
Yeah, I about saying I was going to treat myself to go to the hairdresser, and I thought, when does a man ever say that? They don't. They just go get a haircut. They need it.
Exactly. Yeah, we feel like we have to make an excuse to look after ourselves. Yeah.
Yes, and so you've got a little quiz on your website. I've just put a link up to that. So if you're interested in finding out what archetype you are, what are the benefits of knowing what archetype you are?
So the benefit of going through that quick checklist, it only takes a couple of minutes to do it. You'll find which ones you resonate with and which ones you don't. And it'll actually start giving you as an insight into yourself as where you're not stepping up and showing up in the world. So that can affect your business, can affect your relationships, can affect how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your self-worth. So when you just go through that, it'll start opening up those doors for you and go, oh, hang on a minute. Like, yeah, I do not want to go there. Like some of them you'll go, nah, that's not me. And usually the ones like the dominatrix, a lot of women will not resonate with that one because they'll feel bad and guilty. And that's definitely been my story as well. But yeah, stepping into that place will actually bring forth a lot more energy of going ahead and actually showing up as a leader. And I definitely think this is a way that we need to go, especially as women are here to lead and influence, to really start stepping up in a conscious way, not the way that the patriarchal system, but in a completely new space, and do it differently.
I love that, Foxy. And so I've done the quiz, but I've got to go back and check which one I am because I've got a menopause moment and I can't recall it. But what I love about what you just said is I remember seeing the different archetypes and going, well, I'm here, but I'd like to be here. And it doesn't mean you're above it. It just means that you have, like you said, tapped into your inner power and you're being that woman that you were born to be, that leader you were born to be, whether that's in your business or just in life in general, and just stepping up and saying, yeah, I deserve to put me first.
And I totally believe in balance. Like, so people they'll take a quiz and go, oh, this is me, this is how I am. This explains who I am. But for me, I believe to move through that because we are so much more than that. And that's what the archetypes do, is help we step into these different spaces of ourselves where we discover more of ourselves.
Yes, and that's what you do in your workshops and your programs and your retreats, don't you? You take women through processes so that they can move through those blocks and fears and insecurities to become that confident, leader.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a retreat coming up the end of November that actually goes through, won't be all of the archetypes because there's so many of them, but it'll be the one that I will just get everyone to do the checklist and just work out which one that most people are struggling with and probably step into that one. But they're all fun. They're just, yeah.
So tell us about what's the name of the retreat, because it's a girls' getaway, isn't it? I mean, let's face it, most of us need a holiday right now. There's not a lot of people who've actually had a holiday this year. And we don't have to justify having a break. Why should we have to justify, to our children, our partner? I mean, I've been a single mum. I know what it's like if you can't get away, I know it's very difficult for some people. But for those who can get away, Foxy's holding a 3-day, sort of 2.5, isn't it, Friday night to the Sunday afternoon. And what are you calling it?
It's called Reclaim Your Sass, and just due to room size and me working with people, numbers are limited. So if you're interested, I suggest you grab your ticket straight away. So just to ensure that, you can make it. But definitely, pardon?
Is that up on your website?
Yes, there's a Facebook event. It's not actually on the website, but if you go to my page, my
Facebook
Facebook
page.
page.
Okay, so reclaim your sass. I'll give you the Facebook link to the Facebook retreat. Now let's talk about how to get more clients, because that's what we're on here for. So thank you for sharing a little bit about your business. So I love the idea of your 9 archetypes, and I really think if you create little short videos as well as an image for each archetype, and then you've got underneath each archetype, you've got so many different characteristics, don't you? So you could ask people questions. Do you have this characteristic? You know, and so when you put that up on Facebook, either as a post or as a story, you're asking for engagement, right? It's not just a come to my event, like, or this is my product or my program. So we want to start a conversation if we can, and ask people, you know, if you don't want to make it too long too either, but you sort of do want a yes or a no for stories. You can ask people their opinion to type it in the comments of a post, so that question can be a little bit longer. For instance, give me one of your archetypes.
Yeah. So one of them is the nurturer that a lot of people struggle with. And then I do have a post about being a doormat, and a lot of people resonate with that as well. It's just, yeah, so I do have pictures of all of them. But I think where I struggle with is just, I run a webinar, and then just getting people, like, the people will register for the webinar and then not show up. So that's kind of where I fall down a little bit. And I guess what you're saying is just to explain them more. And I think that's probably what I need to do, is just explain them so people understand them more.
Yeah. Just so you know, and for anyone listening, that, you know, the show up rate on a webinar is not that high. You know, so many people register for these free webinars and they don't attend them. In business, everything is a numbers game. So we need to get as many people as we can, get our message out to as many people as we can to increase our followers. And then obviously there's little things you can do to make them come to the webinar, to offer a gift. A lot of people offer a special gift at the end of their webinar, which can often be a way to entice people to show up and to stay to the end of the webinar. So I don't know if you've been on a webinar where you've seen that happen.
Yeah, and I do that as well. So
yeah, good. All right. So what I would be doing is creating content, you know, because moving forward, you've got the retreat coming up on the 27th of November, but you have ongoing retreats and workshops and programs. So what I would be doing is educating women about the 9 different archetypes and just continuing the conversation. You could just do like, you know, create a Google Doc or a Google Sheet and put the name of the archetype on top, and then underneath it, just in bullet point, some questions that you've got that you can ask people, so that when you put the image up, and don't just put up one image. So this goes for all things, whether we're promoting a product, a service, an event, you need to create different images, even if it's the same archetype or the same product, just so that people don't just get, oh, there's the same ad. You know, they'll turn off their blinkers. So, but also you want to make it fun, like show your fun side, you know, because you cannot not smile when you watch your videos, Foxy. So, you know, you've got some images there of you in the different costumes, right? See what else you can extract from the internet, or get some graphic designs done up with a graphic designer. Maybe go to Fiverr if you don't have a massive budget. Sorry if anyone's a graphic designer here, because sometimes when you're starting out in business, you're very limited by budget. And so I do say to people, go to Fiverr, FIVERR, I think, .com. And they can create some images for you too, just some fun comic ones. How cool would that be? You know?
Yeah, and that's definitely been on the cards as well. So you were saying just to really hone in on the archetypes, because in my webinar I call it the 5 secret, the 5 steps or elements of your inner power, or believing in yourself. So the 5 simple secrets of finally believing in yourself. I actually run that webinar,
Yes.
but perhaps maybe I should run it around the archetypes more. Do you think?
Well, no, I really like the name of the webinar because it tells us the outcome. You know, that the name of your webinar should be the outcome that you're going to offer people, which is what you're doing. But I'm talking about in your marketing, you're educating women about the different archetypes they could be, and they could move through to get to being that confident, empowered woman, whether they want to be a leader in business or whether they just want to be empowered woman to be the best they can be.
Just to step up in their relationship, and speak up and yeah.
But you do work with women in business, so that's sort of like your target market. So I would just be creating little stories. So you got the story size, which is the portrait, and then creating the images for social media, and then asking questions. And these can be put in Facebook groups. So you can if you want to put stuff in a Facebook group, give them a tip and ask a question. And I always say do a little short video, because you look at groups now, how do you stand out? Even groups that have lots of videos, how do you stand out? Well, you managed to stand out and win my last 30-day video challenge because you're so consistent, but also you're so much fun. You can't not see you in the newsfeed. You're not the same as everyone else just sitting behind a computer. You're out and about dancing around, and what's Foxxy going to be doing next? And that's one of the things with marketing is you look at some of the top entertainers in the world, and look, I'm going to pick Kylie Minogue, whether you like her or not. She has continued to evolve and always wondering what she's going to show up with next, what outfit she's going to wear, Lady Gaga, all those sorts of things. So that's how they create that excitement and that feeling of wondering what you're going to do next and how you're going to show up. But definitely asking questions. My daughter's on Instagram. She's always putting up. She does I'm going to do Ask Me Anything, at 5 o'clock this afternoon. So she'll put up a post saying she's going to do that later in the night, and then the young girls will get on and they will DM her questions. And she screenshots them and puts them up, and then she answers them, or you could do a live or whatever. Lots of different things that we can try. But I think if you just created the content for your 9 archetypes and stick to that, so you're not wondering, oh, my God, like, what am I going to post today? I mean, you've got empowerment quotes as well, which, I know that a lot of pages, and I've even heard this from a guy who wrote the book 1 Million Followers, and he's like, yeah, I can do it. It's easy. And he puts up, he was putting up quotes of famous people, and I'm like, that's not going to make me want to come back and follow you. I'm sorry. Like, I know that it might get a lot of shares and, it's overdone. And the thing is, Foxy, I'm not going to come to your page and see you and want to come back if you've got famous quotes of empowered women every single day, and I can go to another page that does that. Like, I need to know who you are too, which I know you do. You put up your different videos and you put up different content. So I'm just saying, if you're going to share tips, make them your tips, unless you're quoting a statistic, which you have to then give them credit, to a source. But put your tips with your name there, Foxy the Empowerment Sage, and start building that brand so that all the content that you put out there, excuse me for a second. That's what happens in a live show. I apologize. The wind just came flying through the house and opened up the door. So there you go. That's what happens with the live show. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Say hello in the comments. I can give you a shout out and say hello if you let me know you're here. Hello, Kerry. Nice to be here. What I'm saying is create the folder in Google Drive, and then create the document either in Google Slides or Google Docs, because that way you can then give that to someone on Fiverr and say, put these text on these images. So you can upload your images or get the images created. And really just start talking about the conversation, like what we're doing right here, right now. We're talking about women and how they put themselves last often and end up with the burnt chop. and or we over deliver and we give everything to everyone else, and then we feel burnt out. And you know what? I think women, especially mothers, that we should have a weekend off every 3 months. I really do.
Absolutely.
A girls
Absolutely.
get away. And I do know some girls that do that. And as I've said before, I was a single mum. It's not always possible. But for those who can get away, I remember being asked to be a speaker in Bali in 2016, and I'm like, oh, I'd have to leave my kids, even though they'd gone to their dad's and he'd taken them overseas for a couple of weeks. I just felt this, how could I leave them? I ended up going for 16 days, and I'm like, they were at the time, youngest was 14, will you believe it? 14, 16, and 17 or something like that. No, they were 14, 15, 16. I mean, seriously, they're not little kids. And I had a family they could go to. So I just want to give women permission today to say, yes, I will go to a girls' getaway. Look, if you go to a retreat that Foxxy's having, it's tax deductible. So that's an even more benefit. I try to make a lot of my holidays now business, sort of things, or personal development things, so that they're a tax write-off as well. But so other than putting little videos up on your stories, Facebook groups, your business pages and images as well, you're doing your webinar, which is fantastic. I would say run your webinar every week until you're fully booked. So all of you should have your signature webinar or masterclass or whatever you want to say. That can be an extension of your signature talk. So your signature talk is if you had anywhere from 5, 10, 20 minutes, 40 minutes. Some keynotes go for an hour, but I'd probably fall asleep in most of them. So if you go to a networking group and speaker is sick or doesn't show up, and someone else knows that you're a speaker, they might say, you've got a time slot, can you get up? So you need to practice and rehearse this at home, or get on video, come along to the next 30-day challenge, get used to being on camera so that you are available, and put yourself out there as a speaker. Put yourself a nice professional photo, put it up on LinkedIn, put it up on your personal profile, your business page. Reach out to the people that you know that run these women's business groups and let them know, I would like to speak on how to reclaim your inner power to thrive in business. Like, who would not want to listen to that? You can't just sit back and wait for people to invite you to be a guest speaker. You got to go out there and you've got to ask people, right? Or do this, pick up the phone. You can't see me. Oh, Amira, pick up the phone. Because I get so many messages and emails and that from people saying, oh, can I speak at your event next? When I was running my women's networking group every week. But the ones that picked up the phone and called me were the ones that got to the top of the list, because I could just straight away build rapport with them on the phone, or we do it on Zoom now, and get a feel for them. Yeah, I like them. And then I'd book them into the next available slot. So we need to be thinking about speaking. You've got your webinar every week, and also then guest expert. Like, ask people who've got a podcast for women in business. You could ask that on your personal profile or in any of the Facebook groups, and you get so many responses. And then you can pick and choose who you can approach as well. So podcasts, web TV shows, and then you've obviously got mainstream media and news. You've got so many people who've got, a website or a blog that is looking for content, or online magazines. You might offer to write an article, or you may decide to write an article yourself and put it up on LinkedIn about the women's, syndrome of putting themselves last. Because I can tell you now, Foxy, you already know this, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners know this too. A lot of people diagnosed with breast cancer, they say they're overgivers, and they're making sure everybody else is fine, and they leave themselves last, which I know I've got to be careful of, because my kids will say to me, Mum, come to the table. Come to the table. Just leave the washing up. We'll do it after dinner. And I come to the table last after everyone's served. I tidy up the kitchen so it's so messy to wash up later, and then I sit down, So I'm guilty of that too. So tell us, what have you found that has actually worked best for you so far to get clients?
What's worked best for me is probably through the website. Um, so far, yeah, people coming through that way, and that's mainly around, well, people from all walks of life and from networking as well. Just being out there, people getting to know what I'm doing. So yeah, and I have struggled with that. Like that's been a big thing mainly because I haven't put myself out there. Like you said, create content, and I haven't because I've struggled with that archetype of the warrior, just feeling the fear and doing it anyway. That's been a big journey of mine. Even though as an exotic dancer, it was kind of like a different space, and I thought, why can't I just map it across? It was kind of weird. So it's been a big journey of just really diving in, because when you share yourself vulnerably, you know, your story and what's going on, it is scary. Yeah, it is scary. And I realize, you know, unless I've been through it myself, I can't help other people. So and it's like anything. Yeah, so
They do say we teach what we most need to learn. And remember, I launched my web TV show back in 2010, and I'd never done a video before. And then I mentored the 8 experts on our panel, and that is how we just, you know, ended up learning all about video. And then I became confident on camera by interviewing other mums in business, which I still do today. So, you know, what else?
The biggest thing really is having that safe space. You know, when you run the 30-day challenge, that is a really safe space for me just to put myself out there. And that, I guess, was where I put my training wheels on, is just, okay, I'll put this out there, see how it's received. And it's such a safe environment that allowed me to do that. And that's what I do in my workshops and retreats, is create a safe space where you can try on little things and see if it works for you. Yeah, so it's definitely a big help on my journey doing the challenge.
Yes, and then we've got the online events. So there's so many online events happening now where we don't even have to leave home. So, you know, I will admit, I sometimes watch trashy TV at night. I will admit that. Because people say, turn off the TV, you know, and go to a networking event or do some personal development. I'm studying foreign trading or Forex trading or something at the moment, so I'm not watching much TV. But yeah, there's so many free events that we can go to online to put ourselves out there, to introduce ourselves, because you never know, you just might meet someone who then wants to collaborate with you, whether that's running an event together, online, offline. Think about having collaborations, because collaborations and joint ventures are the quickest way for you to grow your network and your business and your income.
Yeah,
because
and that's
people who have already got your audience.
Yeah, so absolutely, and I know collaboration is a way to go. So that's where I've kind of struggled. People kind of look at me and go, well, who are you? So that's when I realized, well, hang on a minute, I probably need to put myself more on video or something so people can check out who I am. So it's kind of like, I want to collaborate with people, but people don't know what I'm doing. So that's where I've kind of struggled a little bit.
Yes. Well, you know, you could always start a TV show and start interviewing women in business, right? It's how a lot of people have started, and they could be sharing, look, either you could do something similar like I am. It could be business in the hot seat, or it could be them sharing their story, or it could be, them talking about just anything that's going to give value to your audience. So then they share that with their network, and you start to get a name for yourself. Like, you've been calling yourself for so long the relationship and sensuality sage. Yeah, which I said I thought was a little bit long. And you said, I said empowerment sage, let's try that. And you said, well, it's a bit general, which sort of it is, but underneath it you could put reclaim your inner power. You know, when you putting it on quotes and things like that, so people can see, oh, that's what she's actually going to help me do. You know, you need to explain the transformation.
Yeah.
So any other questions that you can think of?
It's just like I said, you know, doing those collaborations with other people, it's being taken notice of. yeah, so I guess that's what I've struggled of, like, how do I get them to, first of all, like, yeah, take notice of what I'm doing? So that's probably the biggest struggle I've had.
Yes. And I know people say, look, oh, there's so much content online. How do we get people to watch our videos? How do we get, views on our videos, all that sort of stuff? The first step is to put out the content and be consistent. And then it's like where to put it, collaborating with people who've already got your target market, and yeah, just continuing on that. So I would suggest start a Google Sheet and write on the top interviews.
Yep.
This is for anyone watching. You don't even need to have a TV show, but I do teach people how to have their own TV show to go at the top, to be at the top of their game. I believe all top influencers will have their own TV show very shortly, and it's, as I said, it's not just a video. There's other things that go into play when it's having your own show. So create a Google Sheet and then just write down some people maybe that you've met in the 30-day video challenge that you could reach out to, you feel comfortable with, that you could interview, that you feel would give benefit to your target market, and vice versa. Ideally, because I know a lot of people think, well, I want to interview really big people, but they're probably not even going to answer. Now, I always say build a rapport with them. You may go to their event, you may be on their email database, you may be commenting on their content, right, on a regular basis. So you're building rapport. You might be sharing their content. I started doing that with Women's Health Magazine, with Mums in Business Australia, which is my Facebook page, one of my pages. And they reached out to me eventually and asked me, could they quote me in their magazine about how to be confident? What were my confidence tips? Now, that happened over time, right? And I was strategic. I am strategic when I go on Facebook and I comment and like and share as my business page, right? Because there's no point going on as Melissa Grimm because they don't know who that is. But if I'm on there to build Mums in Business Australia, I can. Or if I'm building my other page, Melissa Grimm, the Visibility Mentor, it's clear what I've done. It's not just a public figure page, Melissa Grimm. I'm not that big that I just call myself Mari Smith, who's the queen of Facebook, and she doesn't need any other titles yet. They say attention is the new currency, right? Attention is the new currency. So we have to put ourselves out there. And if you want to be noticed, I know, like someone said to me the other day, you're everywhere, Mel. I said, well, I'm not really. I know very clever. And I don't post every hour or every day even. I've got a few different pages, a few different groups, and I'm strategic where I spend my time. But I know when I spend my time is where my target market are at, which is often online.
So when you're in groups,
yes.
Where, like, how do you know what groups to be in? Like, what groups? You said you're strategic about it. So how do you pick and choose those?
Yeah. So look, I must say I don't go into groups a lot because as you know, I've got my own groups that I manage, and it's quite full on. But I used to go on pages a lot, and I would share visibility tips. So I guess you can either ask people. Right? You can either ask people on your personal profile, or like, I'm looking for women in business Facebook groups. What would you recommend? People are just going to tag them in the comments below and tell you. They're going to tell you their group and other groups that they like. And then I guess it's just a matter, it is trial and error. You're going to have to get in there and go, maybe pick 5 groups or even 3 and just see, do I like them? Are they posting regularly? Are they posting the stuff that I have? Am I being noticed, or is the group just way too big now? I'm just, nothing's happening in there. Or you might go into a group and it might be really, really big, but you see someone else's content in there and you go, oh, I really relate to that person. I like them. I'm actually going to send them a personal message and just say, hey, Melissa, I saw your visibility tip in such and such Facebook group. I really liked it. And look, I'm looking to interview women in business. Would you be interested? Like, who's going to say no to that, right? So when you, this is what I found in business. I always gave first. And so because I had created a platform with my TV show, and now I've got Mums in Business Australia and I'm doing the visibility show here, I've got a platform so I can offer things to people. And so before asking for something, you're saying, can I interview you, put you in the spotlight? There's very few people that would say no to that. because everyone's always looking to be interviewed and featured somewhere, because they can reuse that content. They can download that, put it up on YouTube, LinkedIn, email it to their database, all those sorts of things. And the other thing is, I will say, don't be afraid to reach out, because I remember asking Darren Rouse, he runs Pro Blogger, and I actually asked under one of his live videos one day, how would I go about interviewing Darren Rouse? And he said, just email me. And I was like, I was like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not big enough to do that. Now I've got a platform here, thanks to Sarah. I probably will reach out. But I love to talk to women in business as well, and a lot of my clients, and put them in the spotlight, because that's what we're here to do. I'm here to, you know, showcase you and your knowledge and expertise and raise your profile. And if it means that I put you on my show instead of Darren Rouse, although that's probably on the cards, I might do some top influencer interviews, because they're always popular as well. But what my point is, that don't be afraid to ask. But I'd probably build rapport first. I mean, Darren did know who I was, I think, I hope. But yeah, just make a list. I've told you a lot of stuff. We've talked over a lot of stuff. You can go back and watch the replay and then just write some notes. And I think, Foxy, just with everything I've shared with you today, you'd never get stuck with creating content for, you know, moving forward for 2021, and just put them in little folders and just say, okay, I'm not good at graphic design, so I'll get a graphic designer to make me the little cartoons of the archetypes. I'll get the social media post size plus the story size, and, you know, then you mix it up with the videos that you do, and yeah, just make it all about, just try and be personal. That's how the top influencers are so popular. You know, sometimes I think, oh gosh, they put way too much on there, because sometimes I tap on stories and there's like 20 stories in a day, and I'm like, oh, come on, that's too much. I'm not going to look through 20, but, you know, that's me. Someone else might be sitting there looking at every single move, and it might just be the 5th story they've put up that they resonate with. They're like, but I think, oh gosh, it does work. It's not about how many stories you put up. It's just about being personal. Instead of us trying to put our brand out there, which they're saying, you know, building your personal brand, and I've talked about this too, and it's one of my programs, just take it back a little bit, and instead of building a brand, build relationships, because relationships are long-lasting, they're genuine, and I know that there's a lot of people in business who are here just to take our money, and we're just a number to them. We go into their funnel and they take our money and we never hear from them, all that sort of stuff. So I think we can have a point of difference by being the type of women in business who actually do build relationships, whether that's just messaging people on Messenger or text or you know, phone call, or just responding to each other's posts online, rather than just being a number. Do you know what I mean? And having fun, which you do anyway. Be that warrior that I know you can.
You're gonna be that fun. I'm stepping in the warrior now. Don't worry about that. I'm feeling the feeling, doing it anyway.
I need to create archetypes around women in business and where they are on the visibility scale. You know, like, you never get me in front of the camera. I hate the way I look and sound. Up to, yes, like, I don't care what anyone says about me. I know I'm here to make a difference in the world and make a change. I want to, you know, leave a legacy, and I want to help other people do the same, which is where I'm at right now, you know. But it's taken me, I've been doing this for 10 years, you know. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Anyone watching the replay, I've put the link to get Foxxy's 9 archetypes, so you can go through the checklist. It'll only take you a few minutes to find out who you are and how you can get to the top. She'll put some information on there. I've also got a link to her Facebook page, which has got her upcoming retreat on the 27th of November.
Yeah, it starts on 27th.
On the Gold Coast, Friday night to Sunday afternoon. All the details are on her Facebook page. Go and check her out. If you want to have more joy, more fun in your life, and you want to tap into your inner power, you deserve it. So go and connect with Foxxy. Any final words you want to leave our viewers with, Foxxy?
Yeah, I guess is just step into those places that are scary, because that's where your magic is. Yeah.
Step out of those comfort zones. Yes. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Sending you lots of virtual hugs. Go out and be amazing. And remember to shine bright because the world needs you. And I'll see you next Saturday at midday Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time, Sydney, Australia. Have a great day.
Bye.